And that was Fleetwood Mac. Now, here's Tony Corolla with Window Shopping.
Hi, welcome to Window Shop with Car and Driver. This is the weekly show where Car and Driver staff, editors, contributors, and a lone road and track editor get together to shop for cars online based on a challenge. This week's challenge, in months past, in weeks past, we've done a challenge where we picked sort of a car that formed our youth, or a car that made an impact on us positively in our youth. But then we decided to take a look this week based on the suggestion of a viewer of cars that from our past that we're not proud of, either that we owned or from our family. So this week we're joined by senior editor Joey Caparella, deputy testing director Mr. Casey Colwell, Jonathan Ramsey, whose video is having a little bit of an issue today, but we didn't want to miss out on him, which is why you see a still photo of him, and Road and Track senior editor John Perley Huffman. Perley, you want to take it away? Let's see what car you.
I do. You know, as we all know, I'm significantly older than everybody else, so my cars are significantly older. And this is essentially the photo, essentially the car I owned. My very first car was a yellow 1974 Chevrolet Vega notchback.
Is that's actually your car?
That's not actually my car, but that is essentially the same car.
Right.
But how did you end up in this?
Well, the thing is it's my grandfather had a Mercedes 190D, which I loved. It was a Ponton 190D from the 50s, and he traded it in and he bought this Vega that he got. And I thought, oh God, this is awful. And then he passed, and as I was basically getting my driver's license, and they gave me this car, and it was just the worst pile of S word, because I can't cuss because it will cut down.
Perley, let's see the listing.
I was gonna say, but I feel like we know where Perley became Perley when his father traded in the Mercedes on the Vega, his grandfather, and it was like, boom, Perley is born.
No, I think it's genetic. I think it proves there's some genetic disposition to this decision making.
Now, the first comments on that listing said garbage.
That's right. Here's the problem is that I couldn't find any stock Vegas, except Cosworth Vegas, which I'm not going to put a Cosworth Vega up here because that's a completely different animal, even though it still rots and rusts the same way.
Look at the photos while you're talking.
Let me get let's see. Here you are. And
so this isn't even for sale.
This was for sale.
Yeah, click on the photos. Let's go through the gallery.
Every car at some point was for sale. Throwing that out there.
I can't say can I say the A word? So,
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Perley, so your car was the refreshed one. This is the earlier one with slimmer
This
bumpers.
looks better, actually.
This looks better.
Yeah, well, this one's actually nicer. This is the early car, which looked like a small Camaro.
Yeah, this is not a bad looking car.
The yellow one, those taillights on the yellow one look horrible.
So do the huge bumpers on the yellow one. So these cars, God, they rotted so quickly.
Even in Santa Barbara? I mean, they rusted in the showrooms in Michigan.
They rusted every place. They were, and they were also built, during the most tempestuous period of UAW versus GM.
Fisher Auto Body. Fisher Auto Body.
What were they trying to take a photo of there with that sill and then like the fluid, the frothing fluid?
I don't know. This is
not good.
These cars just
I
terrifying.
miss ashtrays.
Perley,
Not because I use them, but they used to just be such a critical part of a car.
Well, anyhow, I've been on a jihad against these cars for
Critical.
hey, Perley.
Yeah.
What did you have a stick? Did you have a man? Did you have
an automatic? It had an automatic. Yeah, it was terrible.
Wait, Perley, how long did you keep it?
Well, I didn't have to keep it very long, and the reason is the brakes were going out on it already. It didn't have that many miles on it, but it had an aluminum block, right? Notoriously had an aluminum block and an iron head.
Go through the photos while you're talking.
God, geez,
No, and I want to know one quick thing. Did you go back to the dealership and say, there's a 190D here that I got this car for? Can I possibly get that back?
Yeah, that's what I wish I'd done. It was a 1955 190D.
So So you had a 74. What year did you inherit it?
78.
Okay, so it was a 4-year-old car. Was it rusty?
Yes,
It was. Wow.
it was really rusty. It had spent its life in California.
Right.
But what happened was about a year after I got it by the time I was in high school, and the aluminum block was already, it was swallowed oil like mad. The brakes were bad. But the other thing is that the starter in the traditional GM way GM starters mount was down low, would turn the flywheel, and it mounted to a bung on the block. There was a bung that.
Gone through the photos.
Oh, God, please let me. I can't finish. I use my hand.
You're talking about your bung.
Yeah, my bung. But anyhow, the bung on the block just broke off. It just the starter couldn't be held in. Couldn't be held in. It's just an aluminum block. You couldn't just weld it back on. And so essentially, to start the car, you have to open the hood. You take a broomstick and you hold the starter in place to get it to go. And a car that was only 4 years old, I sold it for $200.
Did you try JB Weld on the starter?
It was awful. The thing is that I've been doing like God damn it. Here it is. This is a story I wrote for Popular Mechanics, how the Chevy Vega nearly destroyed GM. And then I did the 10 most embarrassing award winners of all time, where we picked on Motor Trend, picking on the Chevrolet Vega's car of the year.
Oh yeah.
And it was just terrifyingly bad car. But the thing is that I keep getting all this negative from this guy. Have you ever been to the Wikipedia page for the Vega? It is the longest entry in all of Wikipedia, because there's this guy, I think it's a guy named Vega Bob. I don't know his real name, but he is like obsessive.
He changed it. That is his real name.
That is his real name. Okay. But look, this thing goes on for just like, if you want to know about the Vega, this guy has gone nuts.
Well, didn't he also attack you when you wrote some negative things about
every time I do it, he comes back and says I'm a lousy journalist and I ought to listen to Frank Marcus over at Motor Trend because he liked the car. And I'm like, I know Frank Marcus. Frank Marcus is an idiot, and Frank Marcus knows this is garbage. And so this has everything. And these cars.
Wait, did that say Winkle?
Show the way they shipped them. Show their special rail car.
There you go. You scroll back up. Scroll up.
Well,
yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, that's pretty rad.
But the problem was the shipping problem was that this meant that in order to ship them, they had to engineer it so the cars could go. All the fluids in the cars could be on the front of the car. So the thing is that just screwed up all the cooling systems, all the oiling systems. Everything was screwed up just so they could be able to ship them this way.
Yeah, they were pretty rusting in this photo.
Well, yeah, they were already rusting. They were the engine.
So wait. What was terrible about this car other than rust?
Though the major thing that was terrible about it was they're horribly unreliable. They had an aluminum block and an iron head which cooled at different rates, so there'd always be like a gasket problem, and you'd end up just burning tons of oil.
Well, Perley, they also did sleeveless aluminum blocks, didn't they? Didn't they do like a coating and they did a?
Well, the thing is, when you'd overheat, you'd score the block. It was a Nickel coated block, and instead of having a sleeve in it.
So it was ahead of its time, because I mean, different car manufacturers were using that Nickel coating in the 80s and 90s. It's just the technology just wasn't there.
Well, it wasn't ahead of its time. It was way ahead of its time as far as that goes, because it wasn't prepared. This is the infamous coating. This is supposed to be the rust proofing that it went through.
Yeah.
And what happened was they dumped the entire body into the rust proofing agent, but it didn't go to all the places. It didn't make it into every nook and cranny. So what happened?
There were a bunch of air gaps in it, and in those air gaps, it's like as soon as it starts to rust, it just goes bananas.
Oh, that's why now when they do those dips, they negatively charge the car, positively charge the car, and then the fluid is opposite. So it's attracted naturally to the car.
Right. This is there'll be guys who will. There's a Cosworth. If you want a Vega now, the only Vegas that exist are, relatively speaking, is that you can get V8 powered conversion drag cars or Cosworth Vegas that people have preserved for some reason or another, and they're just terrible. They're just and it used to be. It got to the point in time where notoriously, if you went to pick apart here in Southern California by the late 70s. And there would be signs up there that would say, we pay cash for cars, no Vegas. That's what it would say on it. It would say
Even
no
the junkyard
Vega.
thing.
Early, would they accept Pontiac Astras?
I assume that they were smart enough to look at it and go like, "That's a Vega." And you know, they ended up that these were the H body cars came after based on the Vega, which was the Monza, Starfire, Skyhawk, and those are all gone too. They're just vanished off the planet. They just don't exist, and they're terrible. They really did come close to destroying GM because this was the first car that GM built that was built by GM corporate. It wasn't built from the division. It was built by the GM corporate and then handed to Chevrolet to market. So all the engineers at Chevrolet had no investment in it, hated the car.
Nobody had their heart in it. Yeah.
Nobody had their heart in it. Notoriously, in the book, On a Clear Day, You Can See General Motors, which was or was not written by John DeLorean, but it's written by John DeLorean. He just didn't want to admit it. He said John DeLorean went out to drive the first prototype, and the front end of the car fell off. Just fell off at the GM Proving Grounds.
All right, Perley.
Okay.
I think the alarm's gonna go off. Sorry.
The alarm that says Perley's going on?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no.
All right, Perley, thank you for that
Our
comprehensive.
office can't take any more of it either.
I can stop sharing. There it is.
There you go. So how long did you own it, Perley?
I owned it for about a year. When
it was about a year.
when the bung fell off, and I just got rid of it, and that's when I bought my 1969 Fiat 124 Sport Coupe.
Oh, so it's not replaced the Vega. That's pretty shocking.
Replaced the Vega with another car that rotted very, very quickly.
Oh yeah.
But except that the Fiat had a 5-speed transmission, 4-wheel disc brakes, had the Lampredi dual cam engine, and it was a lot of fun to drive. As opposed to
Vega, it's what the Vega should have been, right?
Well, it's literally true that the Vega notchback was actually styled based on the 124 Sport Coupe. They looked at the 124 Sport Coupe and they said, "Let's make it look like that."
Is that you saying that, or the Vega guy?
That's the Vega. That's the Vega guy, who I respect as authoritative, even though he is kind of obviously obsessive.
Okay, let's go to Ramsey.
Well, and you don't know anyone else who is authoritative and excessive, do you? You don't know anyone like that, do you?
What's the weather in the tri-state area look like, John?
Well, funny you should ask, because I happen to have with me.
You're in Sicily right now, and I assume Apollonia is on her way over. So
Apollonia, are you kidding me? I'm getting all
of
Vanity 6
to drive, right?
All of Vanity 6 is coming. So I will share, and actually, quickly before I do, so like Perley, I'm a bit older. All the cars in my era have disappeared. They are so hard to find. So I settled on, let me do.
Especially the bad ones. I mean, I found what my dad had, but it was not easy.
Exactly.
There was one.
So my uncles were always moving through cars. And so everything in the pictures in my background, they owned. And I remember this one, and it was silver, and it had like the black sticker package that said Charger on it. Now, if condition counts, I'm gonna go for this guy, because this is more like how most of them live now.
That's how you remember it.
Condition counts if it's in good condition, or condition counts if it's in bad condition.
I think Tony's going to decide once he decides to vote.
Jonathan, you're going for 2 wrongs make a right, I think.
I just like the description where it says has been sitting for a while.
But it was very fast. If you look at that, it was very fast.
So this was the Turismo 124 when it was a Plymouth, right?
The Omni, the Omni 024.
No, it's the Omni 024 is a Dodge, and it was
Turismo as a Plymouth.
Horizon Turismo.
Okay.
Originally.
And I mean, it was just like, to me, it was just I didn't realize this at the time, because I thought, hey, that car looks cool, because I was a Midwestern kid. Yeah, I was a Midwestern kid. You got this silver thing with the stripes, but now it's like the Wikipedia entry on this is, I mean, it's like reading Sophie's Choice. It's so depressing to read what Chrysler was doing with this car. It started like with a VW engine, like 1 point some liters. Then they
Right.
put a
That's what the Omni had. The Omni had that for a couple of years. With the,
1.7.
Right, yeah.
The 1.7.
yeah.
then they put the 2.2 in it when the VW engine wasn't available.
That was with the K car
Anymore.
engine. That was the K car engine.
Yeah.
And it still had like, I think 107 horsepower, but by the time it died, it had gotten it up to 107 horsepower.
Yeah, I
but-
think the turbo 2.2 was 146 in some models. I don't think this ever got the 170 or so that the.
Oh, they did. They had it.
No, the later one, the Daytona's got that. Not
Yeah, I think it was a later one.
They
I think just,
had a Shelby version that actually went up to the.
was that a 173 spec?
Wait,
I
this
think so,
was
yeah.
Shelby.
Yeah.
we said Chevy, but I thought this was the one.
No, but there was a Shelby. There was a Shelby GLHS version of this.
Yeah. So no,
Oh,
this one
was there?
wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the GLHS or the GLH version of this would have 146, I think, was the top.
Right, but there was a GLHS version too.
Right, with the intercooled one. Yeah.
Well, then were they making the Omni GLHS at the same time as this?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, these were really cool. They had 15-inch wheels when 15 inches was big. That's a 15-inch wheel.
Good looking wheel too. Good looking wheel.
Why are you so embarrassed of this?
Oh, because it's a
That's
terrible car. Because it's a terrible car. I mean, it's the kind of car where like a sixth grade Midwesterner would love it, but anyone who is advanced beyond, say, middle school and learn anything about vehicles would know this is regrettable.
Yeah, I remember riding, a friend of mine's older sister had one of these, and I remember riding in it on the way to go see Tron, and I thought it was the coolest.
Oh my God.
That's an 80s moment right there.
Holy cow.
Who's there?
Right in the childhood.
You know, I have a photo up here of the GLHS version, and I actually think that's a pretty cool.
Oh, so close to being a matched set of tires.
Is it not?
So close.
I think these are 195 50 15s, which is pretty
Oh, no,
exotic stuff.
3 sport radials and a super GT.
One of these things is not like the other, but
It's got that clear coat that's coming off the wheels that just kind of like yellows, like cellophane
Yeah.
around it.
Oh no, Casey,
Well, I mean-
it says sport radial at the bottom there. It's not the same tire.
oh, hey,
No bad.
down there it says
I think they're matched.
they are Super GT down
Yeah.
here.
It's a matched set, Casey.
Ooh.
Uh,
Yeah, and those are the.
Okay, one is way more worn than the other.
Yeah, those are the tires that are equivalent of a Pilot Sport Cup, 2 on this car.
well, I think they're Trofeo R's for the, of their time.
How many miles are
It's got the original radio in it.
24,500.
Wow, that steering wheel's in rough shape for 24,000 miles.
I think that's the thing. Like these cars fell apart so quickly that the fact that this is even alive,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, really, like this should look like that. That is a
But,
of the era.
but
I
I think it had some redeeming virtues, though. For the time, it had some
like
redeeming.
what? Like what?
Carol,
If you were over the age of 12, what was redeeming?
It wasn't incredibly slow. It had a Shelby name.
Wasn't
kind of-
incredibly slow. Is a redeeming quality now.
Dude, I just
Yeah,
put
wait,
up
wait,
a
yeah,
Vega.
weren't
I just
these-
put up a
wait.
Vega.
This is before my era of really caring about cars. But weren't they kind of quick for their day? I mean,
Yeah.
everything was really slow, right?
with the turbo, I mean, the naturally aspirated one was slow, but the turbo ones were pretty quick. Yeah.
Were they? Yeah.
I mean,
pretty-
Carol
well-
Shelby's name is all over this.
And I actually think it looks pretty good. Still looks. I mean, you want to redo the steering wheel, but I think it looks pretty good. This is interesting. These steering wheels, they had this deep dish because the energy absorbing was in the wheel as opposed to in the column.
Oh, right. It would deform there.
It would deform at the wheel instead of deforming in the column.
How do you do that?
What? Because I'm old and I read about this when they were out and they were new.
It wasn't like some
These things were
OG4.
engineered for people not to wear seatbelts.
Yeah, with big ashtrays. So that's the thing. So
Well, I think, is this oh yeah, this is also a turbo. Well, the problem is you can't, like I said, you can't find anything from my era for sale because all of them are dead.
I just
So-
think that,
Yeah.
I think that one that's on. I think getting that one running and showing up at Radwood in it would be really cool.
How
Don't
much
change-
is the burgundy one? Was it 4,000?
It was
No,
I
it was
think
like 10.
5,000. No, 10
Oh,
now.
wow. Yeah, that's a lot
11.
more than the $2,000 field car.
That's exactly.
Clearly, you're right about that. Or doing some really exotic engine swap in it.
Yeah, and just showing up with that car looking that way, that would be so much fun.
Oh, you could put the Gen 3 turbo in it with the Lotus head and 224 horsepower.
No, just put like a 13B in it.
You know, Honda, do a whole Honda engine swap.
Oh, you could do a K swap, yeah.
a K24 turbo engine into it.
I have a feeling you wouldn't want to do any of that
No, well,
with this.
this is all called.
Yeah, what do you think the structural rigidity of those feel like today?
Oh, it's got to be.
Exactly.
Right?
Those
It's gotta-
that's not a rigidity is not a word to use.
Yeah, I think
with
that's
this
exactly
car.
what I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
Casey, look at how big the hatch opening is in the back. It's got a gigantic opening in the structure.
Oh yeah.
All of that.
Huge, huge.
But louvers, I mean, louvers were the thing back
Also,
then.
This is like when they were still trying to figure out where to put the third brake light in the first year, so they just like, I don't know,
Stuck
just
it on the tail.
stick it on top of the spoiler.
Which is, I mean, it's just the ugliest nonsense. I mean, look at that. But I mean, like I said, it's the whole story of this vehicle is depressing, except for its 0 to 60, maybe.
It looks
Yeah,
like
they used
that's
to
a pretty
advertise
car.
the 0 to 50s. The 0 to 50s.
Right.
0 to 60. They're like 0 to 50. And
You know, I always like these better than I like the Daytonas.
why? That's crazy talk.
Did I ever tell you about my second day at work at CarCraft when I had a Daytona
And you crashed.
Yeah, exactly, Casey.
No, we-
Exactly.
We took it to LACR. We go to LACR, which is Los Angeles County Raceway, which is a drag strip in LA, and this is 1990. And I had a Daytona turbo manual, and I'm doing our performance testing, and I blew the transmission out of it. And it spewed parts like halfway down the strip. I'm just like boom, and then they went to the publisher Jim Adolph, and they go, yeah, Huffman second day he blew up one of the cars. He goes like, get rid of him now to cut your losses. Don't wait to find out what's going to go wrong. And
I do want to call out that the dealer has said we have not serviced it. Like,
They
I
don't
don't
even
know when
wanna
the last
touch it.
time. What was that?
Keep
George?
saying, that's like Jim Belushi. It's like the name of the dealership is
No,
Oh, yeah.
Babish.
Babish.
Jim
Okay.
Babish.
Kept scrolling past, and I was like, what?
So yeah, anytime a dealer advertises we have not serviced it on a vehicle that is probably 4 times more expensive than it should be, is also just as S-word, yeah, just as terrible now as it was in '86. But yeah, that's my car.
can we get the dispensation here to use the S word, Tony? I mean, come on, this is the
No, I don't want to have to bleep it out.
Why do you have to bleep it out?
He doesn't want to get the explicit tag,
Yeah.
so that everyone can like and subscribe, not just those who are
Exactly, because then you're gonna have to enter your birthday to watch Window Shop, and who wants to do that?
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta log into your burner account.
Exactly.
Say hello to Apollonia when you're there.
All right.
Make sure your wife doesn't find out.
Joey, I can't wait to see what your family or your
You know it's coming.
Yeah, well, you know,
Is it a
gonna bring the Alfa
Toyota?
Romeo. She's going to bring the Alfa Romeo around to surprise you when it's time.
Of course, it's a
Not
Toyota.
There's nothing surprising about this at all.
But this wasn't. Wait, this was a good car.
Okay,
Good
This was
car.
a good car.
I will give you the many reasons why I hate this car,
Okay.
despite it being a Normcore Toyota. Okay, so this was my dad's car
Go through the
My
photos
first-
I'm talking.
when I first started driving. His was a 2002, but it's the same thing. The reason I hate this car, well, number one is the fact that he bought the automatic one off the lot. So like he always was going to buy the base model, but you'd think that someone who was so frugal would not want to pay extra for the automatic transmission.
And he could drive a stick, right?
Yeah, and he had a Corolla before this that was a wagon and a stick. So like that's great. I loved that car, but I never got to drive it. When I was starting to drive, he had this, which had a 3-speed automatic transmission. It was like the base model had a 3-speed and the LE or something had a 4-speed.
Yeah.
But we had the CE. And the other reason I hated this car is because it was so sparsely equipped that I think it proves it must have been super profitable for Toyota at the time. Because, okay, the basic level of equipment for the Corolla, I think probably didn't change from like 1992 until like 2005. This had crank
broke.
windows, no power locks, manual mirrors.
Oh, geez, the nightmare of drug. Oh my God, what a
No,
hellscape!
No
Look at that
tachometer.
instrument cluster.
Yeah, so the upper terminals had a tack, but the basic one did not.
Look
It
at
had
that.
a tape deck.
Look how big the fuel door is.
Okay, this is the craziest
Like
thing. to
18
me.
point font.
It did not have intermittent windshield wipers. This is in 2002. Like, what were they thinking?
You know,
Wait, his car was an 02?
It was an 02 and it had on or off windshield wipers.
but the thing is, Joey, this is Toyota design when it was at its most consistent best.
Yeah, I agree. It's really.
I mean, it's reliable. It never broke. Like, well, actually, it did. The catalytic converter failed, and so
I think that steering wheel is shared with the LS too.
it's shared with my Tundra.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, totally.
and
Oh man, you're totally getting Perley's vote.
But it doesn't have the classic Toyota cruise control stock because it didn't have cruise control.
0.01% Tundra. My vote.
I love
I didn't even think about that.
you look at the design of Toyotas from this era, and that dash is like my Tundra's dash, which is like the Camry's dash, which is like Tacoma's dash, which is, I mean, they are all. This is just like exactly what you wanted out of a Toyota.
Yeah, there was a lot of commonality, and yeah, they were.
Pearly, does your Tundra have the coin holder in the dashboard? Do you see it next to the vent, under the vent?
No, it does not have the coin holder. It doesn't have
Oh, Joey's did.
yeah, but
No, isn't that what the big
Features
pocket
and
on the
amenities
left
right
underneath,
there.
Joey?
yeah,
The
but
big pocket on the left under the coin holder, or if that's coin holder.
yeah. Well, we had.
I
Coin
hated
purse.
it because it was so like if it had just been a manual, I would have loved it. But the
Did it-
fact that it had the 3-speed auto made me hate this car.
I liked. This car. How many miles on this one?
This one is really clean. It's a one owner with 60,000 miles.
That's like this car's going to be around for
Crazy.
another. This
Yeah,
car's going to
like-
be around for another 80 years.
Another
Joey,
20
will
years.
you buy this
So
for
my
your dad? I'll pitch in $500 if you buy this for your dad.
No, he doesn't want that.
I got a buddy of mine who had one of these, and it was this car from college, and he just kept it forever because then when he got a job and started working professionally, he loves hunting and fishing, and he has a boat and trailer, and so he bought a regular cab pickup truck, and that was like his car payment. But he commuted to work in a Corolla, and he kept the thing. I think his was like maybe it might have been an 03, I think he said. But I think he put like 380,000 miles on the thing, and the car just wouldn't die. And he ended up, he got to the point where he was like, man, he's like, the headlights are so dim. What can I do? I was like, I don't know, try LED like drop-ins and put those in. He was like, dude, I can see everything now. I'm keep doing it, And then he was like, and I mean, he basically, then he put like winter tires on it.
Like,
And he was driving it all.
I'm good for another 20 years.
Yeah, he was driving like
The
all through the
Resto
winter,
mod
and
Corolla.
his was a manual though. But when he got rid of it, I think he tried selling it and couldn't, and I think he ended up getting like $400 for it. But I hope somebody is enjoying it because I'm sure the car is still running.
No, there's always a market for used Toyotas, certainly in California.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting about this car is, and this is likely this car, I can't guarantee it or not where it was built, but that's probably came out of the Fremont plant where they
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was still
the
new.
Numi stuff. Yeah.
And Joey, was the manual 4-speed or 5-speed?
It would have been a 5-speed manual.
Yeah.
And we had a Corolla manual before this. It was a wagon that I thought was great. But the fact
I mean, you
that,
didn't
like,
want your
positive-
dad to be able to relax behind the wheel ever?
No, because and after he had this car, he bought a Honda Fit, and that was a stick shift again. So
That
like,
car was out of Canada.
And
Oh,
this
was it?
out of
It
Canada.
was a two-VIN. It was a two-VIN.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but the
Maybe
thing is,
I-
I really like the car. It's a weird thing to say, but I really dig the steel wheels.
It's cool. I like this.
Yeah, actually, my
But this
dad's
is
car
not-
had the hubcaps, not the steel wheel.
Yeah, I
So-
think
But this is not.
That's probably
this
what
is
was
not
underneath
a bad
it.
car. This is not a bad car though, and the challenge was.
It was not a bad car, but it wasn't the car I wanted to be driving. and
Okay.
well, and like I would have, if it were a manual, I would have been excited about it. But the fact that it had that 3-speed automatic transmission,
the
just
steel wheels just rock.
When
I
did
mean,
they go to a 4-speed?
Well, this generation had a 4-speed, but it was optional.
It went right from 3-speed to CVT.
So your dad totally went cheapo on the automatic.
Yeah, because we had the CE, and if he had
Ah.
gotten the S or the LE, it would have had. Well, I mean, you could have gotten a manual, which is what I would choose. But
So your
any of
dad
the
was a
other
classic edition guy.
classic edition, exactly. Well, it was probably like because I feel like I remember him asking if they had a manual, and like they didn't have one on the lot, and he would just bought whatever was there.
And he was like, fine, I'll spend the extra $350.
But I remember it not actually being that cheap. Like at this time, there were like Kia Rios and whatever else that were like under 10 grand. But this with like absolutely zero equipment was like 16 in 2001.
Oh, wow. So it was
16
Not cheap.
grand?
It was not that cheap.
Holy cow,
because
that's
the
crazy
Tercel-
money.
The Tercel was still beneath this car. The Tercel.
I think the Tercel was
What
gone
is
by
the
now. I think it was
Echo?
the
Yeah,
Echo.
the Tercel was gone.
No,
It was
it
the
was,
Echo.
no,
The Echo was
was,
below.
or sure was, I think maybe, was it Paseo?
No,
No.
the Paseo was gone.
Paseo
too.
was the
The
coupe.
Paseo was just ending. But
Yeah.
they introduced
It
the
was
Echo, I
Echo,
think,
it was Echo.
The Echo came out in what, 99? Or yeah, 99, I think.
Let's argue more about Toyota's lowest tier vehicle from 20 years ago.
I'm down to do that for hours.
Well, the Echo was. I mean, this thing's relatively plush compared to the Echo.
All right.
Well, but I mean, I do love that, like, one small thing, an automatic transmission can make Joey turn against his roots. Like
Well, and
all of his
the
clan,
intermittent-
his
the
whole
intermittent
tribe.
wiper. The intermittent wiper thing was just.
I will say I had a different friend, and this was a friend in college who had the previous gen Corolla with
Yeah, more
the
than one
3-speed
friend.
auto. I had more than one friend, if you believe that, Perley.
Yeah.
I remember driving it once, and I got out like on the interstate, and this was in Ohio, so I probably was cruising at like 70 because the speed limit was probably like it might have been 65 at the time, might have even been 55. But I remember lifting off of the throttle, and it was like I deployed a parachute just because of the gearing, because the thing was geared. It was it's probably turning like 4,500 RPM, and just the engine braking was just like, it was like, whoa.
Well, I wouldn't have even known in that car because it
I'm
didn't.
not a light,
have
Chewy.
Because
It
what?
didn't-
Three-speed
What,
auto
Joey?
and no tack is a bad combo.
All right, Casey, you're up.
The
All right.
humanity.
Casey,
So-
your family had some really terrible cars, didn't they?
Yeah, my family. I call what my folks had, like basically up until I was born, was a trifecta of crap, and it started out. The first one was they when they got married, they had a Gremlin, they had a V8 Gremlin, and then there were a couple other like used cars in there, but then they bought a Volare wagon.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so funny enough, here, let me share screen. The only Volare I could find for sale was this Volare coupe.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Well, yes, but it's obviously not the same. But then when they got rid of the Volare, they got a Citation,
Oh, they
And-
did.
Oh,
and it was not an X11. They got hold on. They got this one here. That they got that beauty, and it was beige. And as I'm sitting here looking for cars, I'm going through, but it had this interior.
What year was it, Casey? Was it?
I
yeah.
think they had it. I think it was an 82.
Okay.
Might have been an 83.
Because if you look at the sales of Citation, the first year they sold like 400,000 of them or something. The second year
was
it
the-
was like half that. The third year it was half again.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
And,
the Citation was the best-selling car in the country one year.
In 1980, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I mean, like my sister and I were like, I saw this back seat and I was like, oh my God. It was just like flashbacks. And the vinyl here in the middle would stick to your legs in the summer.
It gets so hot.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah, so
And this
hot.
car died I was in the car. I still remember it. It was intersection of Sylvania and Bancroft in Toledo. Died in the middle of the intersection. Like she was turning left, got halfway through the intersection, stopped, wouldn't start, nothing. Like, and it was
Is this why you don't wear shorts to this day?
probably because of the thigh stick. Yeah. But and then I saw it's like just going through. Like I remember all of this.
This
It
is
is all-
awesome.
I'm a member of a Facebook group that's dedicated to front drive GM cars.
God.
Of course you are.
Really, really,
Yeah,
really.
and and this car.
Wait. Are you a member or are you maybe the administrator? I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm a member. I've never owned one, And by the way, this guy's not parked in the space. But the X11 is like the holy grail of the Citation. This one,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. It was beautiful.
it's
This
kind of
is
a
actually-
neat car.
Yeah,
And look
and
at this
it's
whole
talking
gra-
about, as according to the car developer John Heinrichsey, 81 4-speed is the one to have.
And look, it says
HOV6.
says right here, Holy Grail Survivor, right down the
Yeah.
down the bottom.
That's why I mean it's only got 38,000 miles. All
Heinrich
original,
would
I'm
go on
sure.
to do Corvette stuff. He did the Cobalt SS
Yeah,
when they
he's a
made it
big
design.
name.
He did a lot of like
The second gen CTSV.
yeah. He
If
did
you
a lot
watch,
of stuff.
if you watch the second gen CTSV Nürburgring lap, it's him driving. He won a ton of SCCA stuff as well.
Yeah.
He
Really-
wasn't he also the father of the ZR1 in the C7 generation or C6 generation?
He definitely
I love the C4. Wasn't he C4 ZR1?
he definitely worked on C4.
I know, but
Yeah.
I think he did I think he was ZR1 for the C6.
And we've
I don't-
shown that video of him shifting before, which we could.
That's
probably-
right.
Yeah, that's
wait,
gonna
so
get
wait.
dropped in right.
Why
Wait, so
did they
Casey,
why did they
Casey,
remove
why was this a bad car?
Oh, citations were. I mean, the car we had, it died in the middle of an intersection. It never worked. My mom swore she would never buy another GM vehicle, even though she did.
So she got the
and-
one bad apple out of 400,000.
No, they were all
apples.
bad.
No, they were all real bad, and
had-
it was kind of like I mean, it was media kind of like fell in love with the thing, and that's another thing is, I mean, my dad probably fell for, it was. I mean,
this is like the one of the most shameful stories in the history of Car and Driver was the entire splooge they did on the X car.
And they
Yeah.
had terrible front rear braking balance.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
The
but
rear
they also,
stock
if you
up.
go there, there's like a special in this issue. There's like a special advertising section where they talk about collecting your X car, and they show guys. Like,
Gotta catch them all.
yeah, it's just awful.
this is OG Pokemon. This is where Pokemon got its whole idea from.
No, they had great ads though, and
Oh yeah, Spotter's Guide.
Yeah.
I hope you win just so I can play the ad. I might play the ad anyway.
But yeah, and then also my dad. He did buy a Diamante at one point, and I was laughing because he had a citation. I said he probably read this He probably ended this, started this Pat Bedard road test and stopped after, if we had to sum up the Mitsubishi Diamante in one sentence, we'd say, "Look out, Buick."
They said,
He probably stopped reading, and then he
"We're
bought
going
it.
to the dealer. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jake."
Okay, we're going. Mitsubishi. Here we go.
That's a good car though. I love a Diamante.
Well, it's if you read it, yeah. It was basically like a poor man's LS, or they weren't
Yeah.
super cheap, but they were nice.
Also,
It
didn't
was
we
a-
just talk about how these because they were built in
Fine car.
Australia?
Yeah.
No, the wagon was.
No,
built
no,
on-
Perley. The sedans were too.
I don't think so. I think only the wagon was built.
too. The
No, I
sedans-
think
Anyway,
you're
but funny, but
I read
like
up
so
on it.
I couldn't find. I didn't look for a Gremlin because I think I already presented one. I found one Ferrari. I found one Citation. I couldn't find an early Diamante either, because I probably would have done a Diamante, because that's actually what I took my driving test in.
pretty sure the Diamante sedan was built in Japan, but the wagon came out of Australia, and I think.
Perley,
it was the
I'm telling you, I looked it up, and
I
some.
think you're
Oh, am I no longer? Did you unshare me?
You are wrong.
Okay, I looked it up and learned incorrectly.
Well, I can go look it up too, and I will prove you wrong someday when I can.
All right. Are you
We
guys
need a
ready?
fact checker for this show.
Are you guys ready?
I know we should just have like a live fact checker in the corner.
Are you guys ready to see the worst car of the day?
No, we already have.
My dad, for some reason, bought an 81 Oldsmobile Toronado diesel.
Ooh.
Until you said diesel, I was about to say, that's not so bad.
So years later, I asked him, like, why did you do that? And his response was, everybody was doing it. And he
No, he lied to you. He lied to you.
no, they sold in 1981. There were 400,000 Oldsmobile diesel-powered GM cars. So it was the peak year of Oldsmobile diesel.
And well, wait a minute. Just and what'd your father replace the Toronado with?
Seville. He bought a Cadillac Seville.
Oh, okay.
Wait, when did he get into the 911? What was the?
That was
when did he
after
get into
the
that?
Seville.
That was that. Okay, that's what I was getting at. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, he got a bustle. Was
he,
this a
he had a quick turnaround there on. Yeah.
But he had a Bustleback Seville. The
Yeah,
one.
he had a Bustleback Seville for 3 years. He had this car for 9 months.
Oh God, that
Wow.
That was
Only
too
9
long.
months.
did it
He
break.
hated it. It smelled like he just didn't like the smell of diesel and the exhaust. He hated having to get diesel fuel. The fuel economy benefit was small, so it wasn't major, and gas prices started to fall. Pretty much, I guess in 81 they were still high, but he was like, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Oh, that's right, because the recession in 81. And he would have had to fill up, like, how many diesel stations were there for cars
Well, cars
around there?
they used to come with a map that would tell you where diesel was sold.
Right.
A little book that would tell you where diesel was sold.
Well, and also that's when like you were getting gas like in between like tractor trailers.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you'd get out of the car and you'd be standing in a puddle of diesel and it would get on your shoes and it was a mess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy cow! Another Corolla interior.
Well, my
You
dad had a tan leather interior. I remember that. And I remember being impressed at the rake of the windshield. Like it just seems so swept back and cool.
How old were you to be impressed with the rake of
I
a
was gonna
windshield?
say.
I was like 6.
Okay, this is I gotta write that one down too. I got a few good ones. I got a few good early TQ, like, yeah.
These are the thing that mitigates in this car's favor is the fact that it's essentially an Eldorado.
Yeah, exactly. And it was also the front drive, longitudinally mounted V8. And
So-
then the gearbox does the 90-degree turn with the chain and then drives the front wheels.
What's this?
So wait, but was it a bad car?
Oh yeah, it was a terrible car.
Yeah, the
How was
engine.
it terrible?
The Oldsmobile diesels were horrible.
The diesels,
Just
yeah, it
because
was
of the
yeah.
engine.
So
Yeah.
Oldsmobile diesels, the early ones didn't have water separation, or they had water separation.
Ooh.
And then the head gaskets would blow because the bolts were insufficient for a diesel. Because this was the Oldsmobile engine was essentially a converted gasoline engine that was uprated in a lot of ways, but they just didn't get the head bolts right. Head bolts,
Yeah, the head bolts weren't strong enough.
And then
Yeah.
they did updates, which is I'm getting way too deep into this, but the updated one was the PX block.
We're way past that.
Wait, but was the
Wait,
was
are
the,
you-
was the
are
water
you-
separator thing, or was it, but there was also the fuel pickups? Didn't they have like a bad fuel pickup thing? So
So it would ingest water, but there was a lot of the diesel back then. It wasn't like of super high quality, so there would be water in the diesel.
It was high.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
But I mean,
I tell
they
you
had
how
water separators on diesels until into the 90s, late 90s.
Oh no, they had water separators in the later Oldsmobile diesels. They did. They put water separators.
Right.
And
How
then it
bad-
also had a warning light that would say water in fuel.
yeah,
And that one, yes, you just bob into your hands quietly.
the only thing worse than the 5.7 diesel was they had a 260, a 260 diesel, which was even worse.
Yeah.
The car was so bad, even Motor Trend dissed it, and
So-
it was just like the worst. And they also had a
what did Carcraft say about it?
Well,
just,
Hot Rodders, Perley, didn't Hot Rodders like the diesel block because it was
the
really,
blocks were actually pretty good for hot rodding because
the
they're
blocks are super strong.
Oh, they put like gas heads on it, and yeah.
So, in 1979, it was a $785 option, which works out to, wait,
44,000.
I was gonna be like, yeah.
it was almost a $3,000 option on this car.
I mean, that's
Well,
like
but that- I
when
mean,
they
that's-
had the
That's
cruise-
that's
diesel
about
price
par
now.
for what a diesel costs. so.
yeah, like when they had the cruise diesel, I think it was 2,800 more recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
list price, $1249, which translates to $45,000. I remember my dad.
53 cents.
hold on, but I mean, look at these other options though.
Ah,
Delcatron,
yeah.
high capacity.
Oh,
Someone
yeah.
got bumper guards and real vital.
You needed, my Oldsmobile diesel had 2 batteries to fire the 16 horsepower starter.
It's got the lamp opera exterior. It's got the exterior opera lamps.
I love this
That's
litter
right.
container. Casey, you were talking about garbage, or you were talking about cars used to have garbage bags in them, or garbage.
Look at all that no extra charge over there.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
Look at the final drive ratio. Oh my God, how miserable! A two
What is it? Wait, where is it? Where is it?
In the middle.
241.
For one.
F29.
Yeah. 241.
Well, Well, I mean, the engine redlines at like 3,600.
I know, but that, oh God.
But I mean, you had to, but you requested, like someone requested all those moldings, the bumper guard vinyl inserts. They were like, I'm not leaving here
Well, you gotta
without my
look good,
pinstripes.
you know? It's important to look good.
Oh my God.
So the thing about this 79 that's a little suspect is the 79 doesn't have this front end. This front end didn't come until 1980 or 81. So I don't know why this car doesn't have a 79 front end. I'll show it to
Maybe
you.
he was in an accident and they just, replaced it with the wrong one.
With the later nose. Yeah, because the 79
Because that's what was available, or they didn't know.
it was 1 year nose. Here, this is the 79. This is what it looks like. See,
Oh yeah.
Is that different?
Ooh,
it's quite
that
different.
looks like The Car, the movie The Car.
Yeah, it's quite different than this one. This is the later nose.
Wait, that looks the same.
No,
Oh, I see. The grill is different.
this has the.
Don't you know your crappy GM?
I'm glad I don't.
No,
He's Tony's a member of a Facebook group about
No, I'm the
Toronado
admin.
grills.
Jonathan, I'm the admin because the last admin died.
Yeah, by default, you became admin by default.
And you,
Oh, I
you
also
get,
I was looking at the door, like that's back when you had 2 keys for your car.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, the
Wow.
round key. To
The
open
round
it.
key and the square key.
That's right.
But look at this angle, Casey. That is pretty rakish for.
You're a 6-year-old, maybe.
It is a stark contrast to the rear glass. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
if I'm correct, this platform was the K platform. Is that what it was called?
I think it was E, wasn't it E? These are still called E cars, I think, Perley.
I don't know. But
That's not a stock exhaust pipe, is it?
I don't think so. It looks a little fancy and a little long.
Yeah, it's sticking
It's a
out.
little decadent for this Toronado.
one of these that was kind of interesting was you could get the Riviera T-Type with the turbocharged V6,
Yeah.
which was actually a pretty cool car.
Oh, wait, they put the 3.8 turbo in the Riviera? I didn't know that.
It was a Riviera. It was a T-Type.
Yeah,
Riviera.
and they put alloy wheels on it.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
paced
and those radios.
500. It was a 500 pace car.
That's right. Holy
Oh,
cow.
man.
Talking about a different car.
Oh, and the power mirror control.
Yeah, I remember this vent was really cool. I thought this vent was really
That's
cool.
not power. That's not a
It's
power.
not power, but it's a manual, the right side. Yeah.
Right. It's not power though.
Yeah, I didn't see the power on the option. Oh, look at the digital clock.
Look at that wood. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I mean, that's Bentley took lessons from that.
All right. So so a thumbs up here is really for a bad car, right?
Yeah,
Just so-
yeah, you're
okay.
celebrating the badness and the terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But there have been some surprisingly good cars for a bad car show.
Are you kidding? I showed a Vega. I showed a Vega. Anybody?
Well, then I wasn't talking about you, Perley, was
This
I?
is the 1 week where Perley did meet the challenge. Bad car is good for him.
If I don't win,
He probably didn't even read the challenge either.
No, I sent him a Slack message because I knew he wouldn't read the challenge.
if I don't win this week, there's something there's some
Here
sort
we
of
go.
Okay.
It's a conspiracy.
All right. Well, we come to the part of the show where we vote on each other's picks and then eventually crown a winner. Perley, you went first with the Vega. Definitely a terrible car. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah. Horrible.
I'm giving you a thumbs up.
Thank you,
Jonathan. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Perley, what was the worst car that wasn't your own?
It's yours. That Toronado was a piece of S. And so, but it was, it was tough though, because, I think the thing that's unfortunate here is that we're picking on GM so much when there's so many crappy Ford products, because the Citation was right behind it. The Citation.
Well, my dad almost bought a 1980 Thunderbird. If you guys remember the 80 Thunderbird.
Yes.
Oh, the boxy birds, those are terrible.
Yeah. The one that the designer of the 83 car was like, yeah, I'm sorry about that one.
Yeah.
Jack Kellner.
Yeah, the 83 car was really great. But the
problem is GM made one pile of poop and then rebranded it 6 times.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason why GM went bankrupt, and it starts with the Vega. It goes through the Citation. It includes the diesel Oldsmobile.
Oldsmobile diesels, yeah.
all those cars are what, and a lot of other mistakes along the way are what destroyed GM and why it had to be rebuilt.
All right,
100%,
Jonathan, the Daytona, or not
Daytona.
I kind of like it.
Charger.
I kind of like it.
I kind of like
Yeah,
it.
I thought it was decent, so I'm giving you a thumbs down.
I love it. Really, Casey?
No, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Thank
I'll
you.
give it to you.
Thank you.
I'll give it to you.
I mean, that was a. I can't believe you like this. If I'd had that on any other show, I'd get thumbs down across the board. And now all of a sudden,
the worst, and it wasn't that bad. It got me to the movie on.
What other show are you going to be able to present that car on?
I'm just saying.
That's tough, for real.
If there was a place I could present that show on, wow. Okay.
He's saying that we have bad taste.
Wait. You got something else coming up in Italiano?
I just might after this. Oh my
All right,
God.
Jonathan, what's your pick? Besides
Man, oh man.
Vega.
It is very close, and I'm only going with the car I'm going with because my family was a Toronado family, and so I got to go with Tony. Because I gotta go with Tony. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll only have a hearsay about the Vega being as bad as it was. Not that I doubt it, but I lived the Toronado, and we had an earlier one, the giant boat one with the sloping back, and when it ran, it was great, but it often just lived in the garage in a constant state of repair.
So you're voting for Tony's car because of a car he didn't present. Okay, thanks. So keep that in mind.
Wait, Jonathan, did you have the really big Toronado from the 70s with the brake lights,
Yes,
the high mounted brake?
yes.
That's a good car.
Yeah, but it was a good car. The one we had was not, like Casey, the one we had was not a good car. So,
Mr. Caparella, the Corolla.
The classic edition.
I gotta give a thumbs down to that because that's a good car.
I do too. It's too good of a car, man.
Yeah, that's a good car.
My parents didn't have any bad cars. That was the worst.
I mean, this is a compliment. This is a compliment, Joey.
All of your
We had a Honda Accord, Corollas, a Sienna. I mean, it was.
In other words, you had the best parents of all of us.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah, but
It's automatic.
but the cars weren't that exciting either.
I love it. He's like, but it wasn't automatic. I don't think you understand. I can see Joey riding to the Geneva Convention.
You better say Vega.
What are you picking?
I'm gonna go with the Citation. What I like about it is that I like that the X11 is like the good version of the bad car.
But it's the good version of a bad car.
But you know
When Perley and Tony just have bad cars.
I thought that was good.
I think they were all just bad, but
All right, KC, Citation, definitely a thumbs up.
I'm gonna give that a thumbs up. Thumbs up from me.
so
Picking.
I'm in a pickle here, Tone.
The windshield on mine is so raked back.
But that's a good thing.
I understand that, but
Vega.
if I give you a vote,
How
You win.
about I can write my vote down right now.
okay?
Oh, here we go. Oh my God.
No, but he's hedging 100%. Wait, how many pieces of
I've written it
paper does he have
down.
written down? He
Holding it
has
up.
like 10 of those right now.
No, it's
No, so yeah, no, Tony, you're getting the vote. It's that the Oldsmobile diesels were horrible.
all right.
And it's not even necessarily just the Toronado, it's just the diesel aspect of it.
Right, but it's they weren't the comprehensive piles of you know what.
But
the
Perley, you had the Vega for 4 years. Your what was it? Your grandfather had the Vega for 4 years, and then you had it for a year. My dad had that for 9 months. It must have cost him a fortune to get rid of that car. It was a 16. I remember thinking it was such an expensive car because it was $16,000 in 1981 or 82 or whatever.
Same as the Corolla CE in 2001.
He must have lost his shirt when he tried to get rid of that thing 9 months ago.
And wait, Tony, you dropped the paper out of the frame, so I don't know what other piece of paper you
It's
grabbed
not here.
while you did that.
It's
Right.
Vega, Perley. It's Vega.
Finish second.
Well,
Is
I
that
mean,
a
yeah, I mean,
tie?
we gotta give Tone thumbs up,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah, Tony, thumbs up, total thumbs up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bad.
But is that a tie for you and Perley, Tony?
Oh, no, I got 3 votes.
How did you get 3?
Oh,
Because
I
you
got
got
2. No, I got 2.
exactly, because Casey got 1, and so you and Perley both got.
voted for Perley. I only voted for Perley, right?
So it's 2-2, so Tony and I tie.
Who voted for you besides me?
No one.
Yeah.
I did.
That's right.
2
By mistake.
has 1, and Perley has 1.
All right. Well, with
Me
that
1 and 1.
with that simple math, we'll draw this to a and more.
With that lesson in arithmetic,
Wait, that can't be right because that's only 4 votes.
What's that?
raise your hand if you voted
No.
for Tony.
Casey got a vote,
I voted for,
Yeah, Casey got a vote, right.
and then I got
Raise your hand if you voted for Tony.
I voted for Tony.
yeah.
I
Perley.
voted for Tony.
So I got.
Yeah, he got 3. He got 3.
All right. So more simple arithmetic out of the way.
That was embarrassing.
Please,
Our math is as bad as these cars. is what that is.
You guys are not doing originality if you don't vote for the Vega.
Okay. Please keep sending in your suggestions, and please hit the like button even if you hated these cars. And we will see you all next week.
See ya.
Oldsmobile announces a new state-of-the-art and personal luxury car design, the all-new Toronado. Built on the Olds heritage of front-wheel drive, the new Toronado offers a choice of standard gasoline or available diesel V8 engines, plus standard features like electronic level control and independent 4-wheel suspension for impressive roadability. Discover the elegant inner world of Oldsmobile's Toronado. Have one built for you.